Okay, this is amazing. Look at that still. That's after 2 months. It's within a second after 2 months. So, just to give you a little backstory, I bought this watch 2 months ago from Little Treasury Jewelers, and you can check them out. I'll put the URL in the lower third, littletreasury.com, and see Steve there. But I bought it 2 months ago, and I was really impressed with this watch right from the beginning. Now, I had owned the Seiko Shogun SBDC007, and I'd done a video proclaiming it the best watch ever for a whole lot of reasons. For $1,000 watch, it was just an amazing watch. And so check out that video. It has more than 500,000 views. But the reason I bought this watch is it is definitely a major step up from that watch, and a major step up from really any sport watch out there, including a Rolex Submariner. I mean, this just puts the Rolex Submariner to shame. So let me go through some real quick observations. And by the way, my background, I was a professional appraiser of antique and classic cars for many, many years, starting in the early 80s. For 15 years or so, I was appraising antique and classic cars, and I was around a lot of people that had Rolexes. I owned a number of Rolexes, a number of which I bought used, a number of which I bought new. I have a Rolex Day-Date video here on my channel that I bought new almost 20 years ago. That I love that watch. It's a fantastic watch. But I'll tell you, these Grand Seikos take quality to a whole new level. And let me just run through some of the reasons why this watch is so special. It is a special titanium alloy that is harder and more corrosion resistant than the stainless steel that Rolex uses in their sport watches. It also has a special anti-reflecting coating on the sapphire crystal, which Rolex does not have. And this special coating allows you to read the time easier and without the glare that you get on the Rolex. It has titanium hands to keep those lightweight and give you that very long power reserve. It has a 72-hour power reserve, and it also winds very quickly on wrist. It doesn't take as much wrist action for this watch to wind up. It is a more accurate and more durable movement than any other mechanical watch out there. Much more durable than, let's say, the movements that Rolex uses. Just because of the way it's designed and the way it doesn't have a typical escapement that goes back and forth that has a lot of that wear and tear. And that's why that second hand is that smooth sweep. So it is more accurate and more durable. And because it's not a battery-powered watch, it's powered by this spring in there, sort of like a mainspring, but a little bit different. There's no battery in there, and there are less moving parts and so forth. It is a mechanical movement in effect, but it is regulated and timed by a quartz crystal type of a setup. But it is very efficient, very long-lasting. Experts say that this could last 40 to 50 years without even having any service done on it. It's just an amazing movement. So it is more comfortable on wrist than a typical Rolex Submariner or Rolex Sport Watch, GMT Master, any of them, because of this special titanium that is used. And you might ask, well, why doesn't Rolex make a watch out of this material? It's much harder to do. This watch has a lot more handwork in it. Titanium, this particular alloy, is very hard. It's not easy to work with. Takes a lot of time. Rolex is more of a mass-produced watch with not as many hand functions in the manufacturer as this watch. This watch is virtually handmade by a master watchmaker, and Rolex just cannot take that time and effort when they're making almost 1 million watches a year. So much more comfortable, more reliable. You're not going to see any fakes out there in the wild of this watch. You can see high-quality fakes of Rolexes out there in the wild, but you're not going to see any fakes of this watch because it would be very hard to fake. They don't know how to make a spring drive. They can't make that second hand do that sweep. They can't get the quality of the fit and finish. They can't get the quality of the polish on the case. Again, a lot of expertise, a lot of work, a lot of hours go into this watch to make it, so it would be very difficult for anybody to fake it. There are Rolex fakes out there that you really have to look close to tell that it's not a real Rolex, because again, it's easier to fake. Let's see here. What's the other points I want to make? Oh, it has a 22 millimeter bracelet, and the shape of the lugs make it form to the wrist better than the bulbous lugs that are on the newer Rolexes. You know how they went to that maxi case or whatever they call it, where the lugs are chunky looking. That's really exaggerated by the fact that it only has a 20 millimeter bracelet. So this Grand Seiko has a 22 millimeter bracelet, wider bracelet at the lugs, and the lugs are shaped better and taper in and down so that it drapes very nicely on the wrist. So really well thought out. You know, Rolex started out, they were really a tool watch. They were designed to be comfortable on the wrist. They were all about the function. Now it seems like they've gone to where I don't know what they're thinking with these case designs and so on, where it's more chunky and for no reason. There's no reason to make those lugs bulbous like that. It doesn't look better. It doesn't add to the function. And so I think they should go back to thinking more about function, and go away from whatever it is they're doing now. I don't know what the deal is with some of their designs now. Like, for example, the classic Date 8 that I have my video up on my channel. That is a beautiful watch. You didn't need to make that watch chunkier, and you certainly didn't need to make a 40 millimeter version of it. It was just absolutely ridiculous. So anyway, let me know what you think. Chime in the comments, and I'm going to do another update after a couple more months. I'll probably do some other videos, but after 2 months, I can tell you this thing has 99% of my wrist time. It is so comfortable on the wrist, it just disappears like you don't even have it on your wrist. And one thing that I didn't like initially was the way the clasp works, the extension clasp, because it's kind of thick. But I have gotten used to that being on my wrist. It isn't really a problem. The fact that it is a little bit bulbous looking, it kind of doesn't bother me anymore. And it does come in super handy on these really hot, humid days where I can very easily lift the clasp lock and let out a little bit of that extension bracelet that's designed to go over a wetsuit. I can let it out just a little bit. And so that I can literally do that on wrist, whereas with the Rolex, you have to take it off your wrist to do that. With this, I can literally extend the bracelet a little bit on wrist, and then when I get in air conditioning or something and it loosens back up again, I could just quickly push it back in. So it really is extremely functional. So I've actually gotten to like that clasp, was kind of the only thing that I didn't like that much on the watch initially. So big 2 thumbs up for Grand Seiko for coming out with a total winner here. Again, share your comments, and if you want to check these out, just contact Steve at Little Treasury Jewelers. That's littletreasury.com, and he's a great guy. He'll help you out. He always has a really good selection. Take care. Thanks for watching. Hey, please subscribe to my channel. Pound that like button. Thanks.